I vow. You vow.
We vow.
You got your spicy pumpkin drink?
I got my
Spooky-
pumpkin spice chai tea with pumpkin coleslaw.
Fuck yeah.
Yes.
Cheers, bitch. It's the Midnight Bitch.
Whoop whoop. Back again.
We're back with a book this time.
Yes.
Because we will rotate between movies, spooky movies,
yep,
smutty books.
Yep.
It's very smutty books.
Yep. Smutty and fantasy.
Yes.
And dark romance.
Yes.
And
all the tropes.
All the things.
All the tropes, all the things. So we read The Ritual by Shantel Tessier. I believe is how you pronounce her last name.
I gotta let you do that because I'm bad with that.
Yeah, I believe it looks like Tessier, but I believe it's Tessier. Wow.
Real good.
Wow.
That one got me.
I just want to start by saying like my appreciation for the author, Shantel. You know, it's so easy to do a book where it's just smut, a little bit of a storyline.
She really wraps it all into one. And I know, like, we have our notes.
Yes,
we have our notes.
We have notes.
We have plenty of notes. And one of those for me was the fact that even though the sex scenes were long, they weren't overdone.
I agree.
And the verbiage, the wording, it wasn't making me cringe.
Whoever is helping her with her wording, because I believe in one of at the end of the books, I believe it said that she had somebody who had kind of like helped her with her verbiage. Now I'm not positive, but I believe so. And I'm like, that's your man, girl. You did a good job, Shantel. Like,
but yeah, just because there's certain books that you read when it comes to smut or anything where it's just there's certain
words that they use, and you're like, kind of like threw me out for a bit.
Yeah, it just takes me out of it. I'm like, oh great, the pounding flesh.
Yeah, like slapping flesh. Like there's none of that. It's geared more towards women.
Yeah,
I feel, and what we want to hear. Even though we see both views from Riot's point of view, the main character, and from Blakely's point of view, so the male and the female. From both point of views, even with the sex scenes, I feel like she did a great job at not making them like icky.
Yes, icky. That is the word
like,
right nowadays. Giving me the icks.
Giving the icks. Like I don't want to hear like slapping flesh. Like I really don't. I've read that 20 times this last week. So this is a nice change of pace.
Nice change of pace. Now with The Ritual, we will say obviously since we're doing movies and books, gonna be spoilers. Moving forward, that's just how it is.
Spoilers, always.
Always spoilers. Gonna be adult content, FYI. So, I mean, that should be posted everywhere in our stuff, too.
Some TWs.
So, yes, it triggers. Big triggers. So, if you are not into the dark romance,
just move along.
Yeah.
Just move along. I'll highlight some of the triggers from The Ritual. And some of them aren't like triggers. Some of them are like things that I've like accustomed, like praise king. Call me a good girl, and I'm just like, what do you want me to do? I'm here. There is non-consensual kinks in this book, but again, like she wanted it that way. Like Blakely dreams of this non-consensual situation.
Yeah,
her ex kind of like puts her down and like slut shames her, kink shames her for it,
and then like forces her. We'll get into that.
Yeah, we'll get into that. But that is one. Branding.
Yep.
Bondage. Kidnapping. Forced sex fantasy goes in with the non-consensual. I put a note. Don't read this in public unless you want wet panties and blush cheeks.
Unless you are a seasoned romance reader, because
I was not.
No,
I was not, y'all.
I got her into these. So like I when Karen and I first met, we've been friends for a very long time now, and she was not into horror, you were into your thrillers.
Yes, I like thriller, true crime, but not scary.
No.
And I'd read thriller, true crime books, but I was not into the romance.
No, and like I got her into like the horror movies and like the good, intense horror movies too. So I love it. And then I was like, here, have some fantasy.
I think it started with ACOTAR.
Yeah, I was like, here, you have to read these. I think you'd really, really like them and appreciate them.
And I did.
Read them like in a week, like how I did. And then I was like, let's go darker. And then we read H.D. Carlton first.
Before the ritual.
So, but we will be getting onto H.G. Carlton stuff because
that's just dive into the bottom of the pool. Like I wish we would have, done this before H.D. because I read H.G. Carlton. I was like,
yeah,
am I ruined?
Yeah, yes. So with these, it's still very good. It definitely brings out some of the kinks that you don't know
that you have, or that you might have, right? Like.
But then you're like, also with these and like with the kinks with the dark romance, like I've seen so many TikToks as well where you're reading it and you're like, oh, that's hot. Oh, I would love doing that. And then you actually look at it in real life and you're like, don't fucking touch me.
Get away, okay?
And I'm like, how about no?
See, but I would be the opposite, and you know this because it's embarrassing, but ever since I started reading these types of books, my libido has gone through the roof. I'm having sex dreams. I'm dry humping my fiance at night. Like, if you have like any libido issues,
start reading dark romance.
Start reading some Shantel Tessier, specifically The Ritual, so you could go to the sinner and then the sacrifice, and then she has Carnage coming out.
So excited.
Okay, we'll get to that at the end. We're
very excited. We have a few of our favorite authors, and Shantel is definitely one of them.
She's up there.
I'm
fangirling.
I love her writing style. Yes. It really sucks you in. I never felt that there was any slow points. That I was like, no, like it really got you in. And the fact that I feel is a good combination of smut and plot.
And her plots aren't like a basic, this is what it is. You are thinking, and there are multiple times where she throws a plot twist and you have to stop and go, what? Yeah. And maybe back up a few pages and be like, whoa, I didn't expect that to happen.
I love it.
And we'll talk about some of those because, again, spoilers.
We're going through the whole, not the whole book, but we're going through like main
things that jumped out to us. Yeah. I guess I would start with like the Lords because I feel that's a great starting point.
Yep.
So like they're all at like Barrington University.
Yeah, this is a college dark romance.
Yes, so specific to the college and these lords.
Yes.
Which my understanding it's a secret society of like the top 1%.
Pretty much.
All of their parents are like high CEOs. They're like running the country. Yeah. They do arranged marriages in this 1%, so your elite stays with your elite. And that's weird as it is, but like, do you, right?
Yeah.
So I thought that was weird. But as men in this society, like you have to be chosen to be in the society within the college, and it's normally by family, like if your parents were lords. So I thought it was interesting that they have to be abstinent that like freshman, sophomore, junior year until they go on with their ritual to be lords.
Yeah, because it's their commitment to the lords.
It's to be abstinent during those 3 years.
Because after those 3 years, they get a chosen.
Yes.
That they can do what, like, this chosen
is basically their whore.
100%.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times, from what I was kind of getting throughout the series, is that some of them are willing.
Some of the girls are willing.
Some are not.
Yeah.
Like, they don't even know they're on the list.
They don't even know they're on the list. Because there is a physical list of the chosen.
Yep.
And you may have, like, your chosen your senior year to, like, fuck with. And you could have 5. Like, that's up to you. You can have as many as you want. But you're still tied to your original arranged marriage. So that gets interesting. Because then you've got, people with chosens that like somebody else was supposed to marry, and it kind of gets like what the
fuck?
fuck?
Yeah.
Are we wife swapping? Are we girlfriend swapping? I don't know.
Yes.
But I think going back to lords, I wrote this down because I thought it was important. Lord is leader, order, ruler, and deity. A secret society made up centuries ago by men to feed their misogynistic and egotistical attitudes.
That's 100% how it is too. Reading these and just reading with some of the characters that are lords already, I'm like, I want to punch you in the goddamn throat.
I want to punch you in the dick, sir. I want to punch you in the dick.
Yes.
Specifically Lincoln. He
Fuck
is
Lincoln.
throughout, the books. We don't like Lincoln.
No.
He is like an older lord. He kind of oversees like the college kids.
Yeah. Like in the initiations and all that. Yeah.
Yes. If your chosen accepts, she's yours, until marriage. But I don't know that I've heard of a chosen denying.
No, they're stuck.
Yeah,
they try to deny, but there's no denying. Like, it is what it is. If you are chosen,
you're chosen.
Suck it up, buttercup.
Yeah. So, like touching on those main points, I think we should just kind of like dive into the two main characters.
Yeah. So it's Riot and Blakely.
Yes, and Riot is the Lord. He's gone through these 3 years of being abstinent.
Yep.
I
will say, like, prior to that, when you get to Riot, there's like these little chapters of like, this is initiation, this is commitment, so you get to see what he has to do
those first 3 years. They're not like clean things that he has to do.
My note is Riot didn't come here to fuck around. Knows what he needs to get done and gets it done.
Yep.
Like, that's just how it is. He's like,
I think their first mission and like the second chapter, they were to go kill a lord who had broken rules. Yep. And he went with another lord, Matt. And they killed the man, and then Matt wanted to assault the woman.
Yeah.
And ended up killing her. If I recall correctly. So
spoilers.
So he ends up killing. I mean, that's in like the second chapter.
No, but I'm saying, does he though?
Does he though? Yeah. Okay. So as far as we know at this point,
when you first started, you're like, oh shit, he killed her. He was supposed to leave the woman alone.
Yes, they're only the Lord. Because if a woman is married to a lord and the lord dies,
they get transferred to another lord.
You go into somebody else. Like, it is legit wife girlfriend swapping. I mean, they're gonna pair her ass up with somebody else. Like,
yeah, and also, come to think of it, even if like having a lord and they turn into a lady.
Yes, a high lady, a lady. There's different tiers of ladies.
Still only having kids to continue this tradition.
Yes.
So that's why, the wifey needs to be given over to somebody else, because you can just continue like having kids.
Yes. And I will say, like, it's kind of clear in, the first few chapters that Riot loves being a lord. Yeah. Because his father was one, and he looks up to his father, and he looks up to their relationship, right? So there are 15 seniors of lords. Yeah. So there's about 15, but there are hundreds of women on this list, right? And like we said, you can have one.
Yeah, 5.
You can have 5. They don't have rules on that. The only rule is who you marry when this is over.
And like, they already knew that before initiation, before they do anything. Like, you already planned.
Most of them are dating the person that they're going to marry.
Yeah.
Because it's arranged by their parents. It's very clear. It's more or less the senior year is kind of like what's going on.
Yeah.
Which is where all like the storyline comes in too.
Yeah. So like Riot, he already knows who he's gonna marry. Does not like the bitch.
Yeah, he's set to marry Cindy. And he does not like this girl.
Not at all.
Me neither.
Yeah, same.
She's a psycho bitch.
Yeah.
Like that's what it is.
Straight up. She's a see you next Tuesday. I tell you what. And then the thing is too is like there are some lords that don't have a choice who's their chosen, and that is the case when it comes to Riot. He was told, "I don't care about your list if you even have one. You're gonna end up with
Blakely." Yep, and Blakely is the main character for the female side, right? So she was actually dating Matt.
And she's supposed to marry Matt. Like that was the whole thing. Like,
is arranged by her parents and by Matt's parents. Like, you guys are dating, you will be together, right? Um,
but then over here comes Lincoln and is like, guess what,
Riot? Essentially, so like Matt and Blakely are together, right?
Yep.
And Matt is like not giving her anything. Like she's a virgin, but she wants Matt. She's been dating him for years. She thinks they're in love. She's like, why won't you touch me? Why won't you have sex with me? Like, it's kind of fucked up.
He really didn't give her any like
reason.
It's just, like,
no,
it's because I think he said something along the lines of it's because I'm a lord.
Yeah, and he was like, we can't. There's like rules.
He's never told her anything about it.
She's in the dark. Okay. She's very much in the dark.
Yeah, and she's pissed about it.
Yeah, she's always like, you never tell me anything. You keep all of these secrets. We understand, girl. Yeah. I would be asking questions too.
Yeah. One of my notes is saying that Blakely just being okay with Matt and just holding out for him.
The hope. Yeah, and like, mind you, he's definitely fucking other girls.
Oh, 100%.
And she's not aware at this point, but like, get a brain.
Yeah, and Matt, and Matt, he was with Beal. He's like, I'm a lord. I can do whatever the fuck I want. I don't need to prove myself to anybody.
Obviously, he killed this woman. They're not supposed to touch the woman.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
and fucking other women when he's supposed to be abstinent because that's showing
your loyalty to the Lord. So we don't like Matt.
No.
He's just a fuckhead.
Yeah, I don't. No.
So that was interesting. Like Blakely being with Matt. You know, she thinks she's promised to Matt as a gift.
Yeah.
Surprise! Lincoln's like, come into my office, Riot. You're gonna be with Blakely.
Yep.
And Riot doesn't really seem to have an issue with this.
Well, at first he's like, okay. Like why? Like he knew that Blakely was Matt's. So he's like, great. I mean,
so like why?
Riot and Matt had a falling out anyway. He was like, okay, fuck you for like that. Their whole
murder thing. Like you could have got us in trouble with the Lords. Like you could have got us kicked out.
But Riot's not a rat, so he didn't say shit about Matt.
Snitches get stitches. Yeah. That ain't Riot. No.
And so, but him and Matt had that falling out because of all this. So when he found out that Blakely was going to be his chosen, he's like, fucking why? But at the same time, haha, fuck Matt. Blakely's mine. It went full on, like, possessive.
Yes, he is very possessive. Blake, like, you know, we're kind of just moving through the book a bit. So Blakely is, you know, now we're like choosing the women, right? We're now like chosen. We kind of have like background. Blake's best friend, her name's Sarah. She comes into play in the other books. So like, I feel like that's an important call out. You know, she ends up being a chosen as well. You know, they go to the party with the Lords.
Yep, at the Lord's house.
They do all that. That's a fun read to like read about this college party, and there's like about to be orgies on every floor.
And like most of the men are in masks.
Like,
mask kink.
You don't know who that is, but you're like,
hey,
I see you. I see your eyeballs. That's it, and your body, and I like it. They have that, you know. So Blakely and Matt are still together
until one of the parties.
And then we go to the cathedral. Is that what we're gonna call it?
Was it
for the ritual itself?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, because it is a cathedral.
Yeah.
They turned like this old ass cathedral into the Lord's, like that's where they do all the rituals.
They've got like a sick altar set up.
Baptism pool.
A baptism pool that's full that they use very well. I'm gonna say. So, you know, the girls on the list have to essentially show up.
Yep.
And, you know, they're told where to go, when to be there. The men are all in their masks and their like cloaks, if you will.
Well, yeah.
And then it's like spoken aloud who their chosen is. Yeah. And they have to take them in front of everybody in the entire church and show ownership.
100%. 100%. And it's dependent on the Lord of what they want to actually do. Yes. And all of this is in the baptism pool because it's like they're wiping away their previous
sins or sex.
Yeah.
If you will.
Yeah.
I don't
Sex
know.
adventures, so they're like being cleansed, and then they dunk them, come back up, and then they have their way with them however they want to. And that is one thing that I loved with Riot. Is because he's like, no, none of y'all bitches are
gonna see my girl.
Not at all.
Naked.
So
she's staying clothed.
The only thing that he made Blakely do was like hardcore blowjob. But like
hardcore.
It wasn't.
But it was sweet.
Yeah.
He was like teaching her how to breathe.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know why I find that so sweet.
But it's like, I'm still gonna take
He's
care
like,
of
breathe
you.
through your nose, baby. Like,
but also take it.
Yeah, like take it.
So did that.
And we also hear about Matt's chosen, and her name is Cindy. Right?
No,
Ashley. Oh, okay, yes. And he almost kills this bitch during the like ritual to the point where Riot stands up and is like, you're about to kill her.
Yeah.
Didn't really give a fuck. So
not at all. And that's just like kind of one of the little
Yep, he's a psycho.
And I will say, before the cathedral and all that happened, at the party, Blake did find out that Matt was cheating on her with Ashley.
Yes. So she kind of knew, right, at this before they chose.
And so when Riot gave her, because they gave cards, so like the ritual, be here
at this time.
So after they find all of that out, she was like, fuck Matt, went and did the ritual or whatever. And I love that, because she's like, no, I'm still gonna be my own fucking person. Yes. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, I held out. I was here for you. No. But I don't believe that Blake knew that they were actually going to be married. Like, it was just like the family just wanted them together. But I don't think at that point.
She did.
Did she?
She did.
Okay. It's been a little bit.
And I like sped read this morning. She did know, because like not even halfway through the book. Let me see, because I look at my notes. But like page 250. Blake's mom comes to the apartment and is like, this is an arranged marriage and you need to be with Matt. And Blake is like, no, he cheated on me.
Yeah.
And her mom is like, I don't give a fuck. Yeah. Okay.
Valerie.
Like, I don't give a fuck. Riot actually steps into that situation because she smacks her daughter and he's like, you will not hit my girl. Yeah. You won't talk to her like that and you will never talk to her again.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, all right, So there's quite a bit that like goes on even before they become, they're like in their senior year, before they get their chosen. And it's just, there's a lot of like twists and turns, right? Like Blake's over here set to marry Matt. Riot's supposed to marry Cindy, who Matt is also fucking, because he's fucking Cindy and Ashley. And like Matt is set to marry Blake, like wife swap. That's literally what we're doing. Yeah. So it does get a bit confusing. So like when you read, just kind of like remember like there's a bit of swappies going on.
I think that Shantel does a good job of like keeping you on track with that too.
She does remind you throughout the book who Ashley is, who Cindy is, because you go a couple hundred pages without hearing about them, either one, and you kind of like forget that they're in the story because she throws you for such a curve there that you're like, I'm stuck in this now, and she throws you that other curve and you're like, oh my gosh, I forgot about Ashley and Cindy. Like, of course we did.
And I say, for back to the ritual part, so Riot takes really good care of Blakely through all of that. Doesn't show her off. Like, she still has undies on, everything. Yes. She's still clothed, because I think they just put her in a dress. Yeah. Goes through that.
He was as respectful as he could have been.
Because he still has to show the Lord. Yes. Because they're misogynistic. Like, that's just how it's going to be, right? But I will love that throughout these books, and I know on some of the books they have people have like done their own little writing, is the actual wordings for the ritual, which I love. So it's I vow,
you vow,
you vow,
we
vow.
I want to get it tattooed on me.
Yeah, I kind of want. I kind of want something like that.
Either that or I'm gonna have to get my nipples pierced, but that's another book by Shantel. Also. I think, wait, is it the third one? Is it sacrifice?
No, that's sinner.
Is it sinner?
That's with sin.
Okay, well, we'll get to that next time, but I also need my nipples pierced.
Yeah, that might be a thing happening soon.
And we'll record it for you, Shantel, if you're listening to this.
We'll go to the piercer and be like, we'll say
it for you.
We'll say the vows.
For you, girl. But yeah, it is, I mean, it's very much like the ritual is not only for the men, but it's for the women. They're training them to be in a position of higher power, right?
Yep.
Which I don't know what like abusing your woman does. You know, I feel like the way Riot goes about it is more fun.
It is, because it's more, yes, he's possessive and he wants it to be known,
but
and
in
he
a
wants
loving
her.
way.
Yeah.
It's not, it's controlling, it's possessive, but it's because he wants to keep her safe.
Yeah, it's like very manipulative, but it's for it.
It's for a reason.
It's for a reason. It's for her safety and going on. Now, don't get me wrong. If all this was happening in real time, real life, fuck no.
Yeah.
Get out of my face.
Absolutely not.
Unless we have boundaries, unless we have things that, you know, like clear cut.
Riot, though?
Riot, he don't give a fuck.
Yeah. I'll let him. So, like, essentially, these whores are used for, like, a year, and then they move on to their arranged marriages. Mm-hmm. They're then lords. They're then in their position after college of whatever they're assigned to be. Like, I think Riot was supposed to be, like, a New York, like, district judge or something. Yeah. And he didn't even know that. Like, Blakely knew that information because Matt spilled the tea. Yep. And that comes out towards the end of the book. Riot was like, what? Like, I didn't even know that. Yep. And Riot's dad's kind of like, how the fuck did she know that? Which, again, comes back into more of her lovely twists that she does. God. So I guess, like, going forward, we have quite a bit of like the first book, like first half of the book covered, right? Yeah. You know, you have like an idea of what's going on.
Because it's just the setup of how Riot starts controlling her, starts getting things set in place for them. Yeah. But then he becomes real possessive and is like, no. And then you move into after the ritual, more sex, more domination, all of that stuff, fine and dandy.
Well, okay, so after the ritual, I just want to touch on this because I thought it was sexy. So after, like, Blakely's in the ritual, Riot takes her back to her room and, like, ties her up, you know, like, spread eagle, fucking naked, leaves her ass there, and goes back to finish watching everybody else.
Well, even before that, he takes her around the back.
Yes, and fucks her outside,
because too. That was their first time. Because Riot withheld. Yes, he played with her, he pleasured her, but he did not get anything out of it.
Yeah, because she was a virgin.
Yeah, because Matt wouldn't do shit.
And he didn't want to, I think, like, it wasn't spoken, but I think out of, like, respect for her, he wasn't also going to take her virginity in front of everybody. Yeah,
exactly.
And I was like, oh, Riot, so like, sweet. God damn it. Yeah, I should love you, but I do.
Yeah, he took her out back, fucked her on the wall, and he was like, I'm not holding back, honey. Sorry, it's been 3 fucking years.
Although he was.
He was still holding back. Just saying. But then, then they went back to the room, and he's like, all right, string you up, I'll be back.
And then, you know, he comes back, unties her, and he's like, take this. And she's like, what is it? And he's like, it's Advil. Yeah. How sweet.
That Riot's aftercare, honestly, was sweet.
It's amazing. All of the aftercare and all of the books is amazing, which makes it...
It makes it so hard to be like, oh.
I don't like that when the aftercare is so sweet and it's clear that the feelings are there, too.
And how she writes the women, too, is they're in these positions of they want to be owned.
Yeah, so it's not like Blakely doesn't want to be treated like this. She has been in such a lack of, like, love or, like, being accepted or, like, being heard or seen that she is literally grabbing on to every single thing that Riot is giving her. Yes. And loving it.
Yes. It's maybe they have some parts where she's like, no, you know, just get away from me. I kind of
like,
want
fuck
this.
off. I'm mad at you.
They don't force, like, rape or anything on them. It's more of like, oh, are you sure? Like, you want this, you want this. And so yes, it's kind of an egging on, but
it's like an attitude. It's like,
it really is.
Me. And he'll be like, don't give me a fucking attitude.
Get on your knees.
Yeah, and she'll be like, I don't want to. And he'll push you down to your knees then. Like, cause she's clearly being sassy because she knows what she's going to get out of it.
Exactly.
She loves when he calls her his, like, little one.
I love the pet names in these books.
Like, and good girl, like, she absolutely starts, like, oozing for that.
Yeah.
Literally oozing for that. Speaking of, like, the Force situation, Blake does have this reoccurring dream of a forced fantasy. And we kind of touched on it. Matt, like, shamed the shit out of her for that.
How could you like that? Why would you like that?
Yeah, like, you're a fucking whore, even though she's a virgin. So that makes sense, Matt. You know, she has this dream and kind of, like, runs to the bathroom because Riot's with her. And Riot's like, why is she, like, all flushed?
What are you doing?
He literally, in the book, he's like, it looks like she just got herself off in her sleep. And so, you know,
she's so embarrassed.
She's embarrassed. She, like, runs to the bathroom and she's, you know, tearing up. And he's like, well, tell me what the dream was about. And I don't want to. But she ends up telling him. And he is more mad at Matt for shaming her than about her having a fantasy.
Because I think one thing he said, and then it's like,
it's a fantasy.
It's a fantasy, and I will be the one to do that for you because at least you know you'll be safe
with me.
And I will say his communication is he's all about he's like, I can't read your fucking mind.
Yeah, he does say that to her, and he's like, I need to know what you want, and like he's even with this forced thing. He's like, when do you want me to do it? And she's like, I don't want to know. And I don't want to know how you do it. Like, I kind of want to be surprised. So, like, the communication is key, especially, like, we're almost in, like, a sub-dom position here, even though, like, that's not what the books are about, but that's kind of the area that they're, like, walking in.
Yeah.
But it's clear because the communication is there. If you're going to have that sub-dom relationship, there has to be communication. You cannot not trust the person and not talk to them.
And that's what, like, Riot... Throughout all of it, Riot has always been, you need to talk to me. You need to have a communication with me. But, and I want to say there was a few times in the books where, like, he could tell it was going a little too far.
For her.
Yeah,
and
for her.
Back off.
He'd back off and do something completely, like, do something different. So.
And then there were other times towards the end, he's like, you can handle it now, little one.
Now you're fine.
You've been with me for a while. You got this. So those are, like, some of, like, the sexy scenes. There's a lot of breath play.
Lots.
And we're kind of jumping ahead because we cannot cover the whole book. Like, you have to go read it.
Yeah.
Eventually, you know.
I mean, we all know what, like, the smut, like, there's going to be smut, there's going to be kinks, there's going to be everything like that. She tries things that are new. Throughout all of it. So, I mean, we don't really need to touch and play on that because what's the fun in that?
What's the fun? There's ass play, there's breath play. Knife play a bit.
Just get tied up and left.
There.
Okay, one of my notes in there, I said, like, as much as I would like being tied up and shit, don't leave my ass there. I could not do that.
I would go in full panic mode. I would be like, when are you coming back? Are you ever coming back? If you need to leave the room
to, like, take a piss or something and then come back.
That's fine. As long as I can hear you peeing.
I know, like, just don't fucking leave me for hours on end. There'd be no goddamn way. My hips could not take it.
Dude, there are scenes where, like, she's, like, cuffed behind her back for, like, hours. And you'll, like, throw her in the car and she's like, ow. And then I think at one point, like, it's when Riot goes to prison to do his mission with Matt. And he gets cuffed behind his back the same way for, like, 30 minutes. And he's like, no wonder Blake thinks they're uncomfortable. Like, why does she enjoy this so much? I don't think she does.
She tells you ow.
She says all the time, ow. Ow means I don't like it. It hurts. Or it hurts and I do like it.
Yep. So who knows?
But yeah, so, like, despite, you know, everything going on, you've got Matt over here talking to Blake's parents. Like, I'll give you $50,000 for her. Like, fuck you, Matt.
Yeah.
Okay, you can't buy a woman. First of all, especially a woman that you don't acknowledge.
Yeah.
You don't treat right. You cheat on her. You've sent your girlfriends out to try and kill her.
Yeah.
That was another twist that I was like, what?
Yep.
So there's so much that happens, despite everything that goes on, it's so clear in the books that Riot is falling for Blake.
Oh, yes.
And vice versa.
Yeah.
And that's about like 200 pages in, so like a third of the book. You really start, I mean, she moves.
Yes.
And keeps the story going. Like Christina said, there's no like lulls in the book. It moves well. They're easy to read. Riot is possessive as hell. But we like it.
But we like it.
It's hot. He's taking care of Blakely, you know?
Yeah.
So there is a point, you know, where Blakely kind of like freaks out.
Yeah. Well, okay. She freaks out. Okay. So for this one,
there's a lot that happens to like.
They go back to the Lords because there's another party. Matt confronts her.
Yep.
Starts telling her shit.
Everything.
That's like true,
but like not true.
And does that. Blake freaks out and goes, fuck Riot. And then in comes Cindy in doing shit. And so that doesn't help. And so Blake's like, fuck all of this and jets.
She's out of here.
Out of town.
She's gone. She's literally running from Riot, never wants to be found from this man.
Yeah, like you could fucking run
again. Yeah, like you can run away from Riot. No.
Get the fuck out of here.
She does run away after a confrontation. Riot tracks her ass down, but not in the way you think. Somebody else tracks her down.
Yes.
Matt hires another man to track her down. I mean, she's in hiding. She's in a different state. She's working as a waitress, and goes to like take the trash out and is about to be assaulted by this other man who knows her true name because she's got like a fake name.
Dyed her hair.
She's about to be raped by this man, and all of a sudden, you know, his neck gets cut, and Riot's there, and he's like, "Found you, bitch." Found you and I saved you.
Yep.
It was a little creepy, but I was also like, yeah.
Okay.
Like, you saved me.
Yeah.
And you clearly love me. I did want some time for myself. I got it. I was got assaulted. Maybe I should come back to you now.
Yep.
So after this, like, things really start to pick up pace. Riot and Blake's dad discuss, you know, how they want things to move forward with Blake. They discuss that, you know, if Blake agrees to marriage, she is Riot's, right?
Yeah.
He's not concerned. Dad ain't concerned about the $50K. Like, clearly they're set. Like, $50,000 for a human. I'm sorry. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, Blake's dad didn't even want her with Matt.
Right. Blake's mom did. Dad did not.
Yeah.
So
Blake's dad was like, yeah, sure. Okay, whatever. Trying to help Riot out.
So, does Riot propose to Blake?
Yeah.
Yes. Does she say yes? Yes. You know, she ends up getting what she wants. Yeah. Acceptance, love, understanding. But she's still being tested by the damn lords.
Yeah, because the ladies, what is it? They have initiation. So, I mean, if you're going to be proposed to, or you're going to do any of that, you have to go through initiation.
Yeah, you can be married, but you're not a lady until you go through the initiation.
And that's their commitment to
the lords. Because there's like different levels of a lady too, right? As there is like with the lords. So, because like I would consider Matt like a lowly lord. 100%. And then I think of like Lincoln as like a high lord, right? Because he's overseeing so many. And then I think of Riot kind of at the top because they also ask him to do quite a few things for like the police and he's got his hands in every bucket.
He proved to himself.
He's proved
not to himself,
his loyalty. To the lords. Like he's proved that he's here to do what he wants to do. But he's also like, I've fallen in love with this girl.
Yeah.
I want to marry her. You know, they do end up getting married. And I think it's really cool that, you know, towards the end, Blakely is stubborn.
Oh, yeah.
Riot gives her a wedding gift with air quotes. That's actually divorce papers.
Yep.
But it's a test. Yep. By Riot's dad, I believe. She's like, fuck this, and like throws them in the fire.
She got so pissed.
She did. She was pissed. Cindy ends up being like a pawn for Matt there towards the end too.
Yeah.
So like, after she throws the divorce papers in the fire and they're kind of like, I love you, and they've got things settled, then you see fucking Cindy walking in like a trench coat and like heels, and she's like, where's my boyfriend Riot? And Blakely's like, you mean my husband?
Bitch.
Huh? And she's like, well, you haven't been around for 3 weeks, so like, whatever.
He moved on.
He's
Obviously
been calling
not.
me. She was lying the whole time, but like, what I loved that Blakely did was the fact that she turned her big ass wedding ring around and then smacked her.
Oh my God.
And then she goes, oh, did my wedding ring cut you, bitch? I was
like Blakely went after Cindy and it was great. And so like they kidnapped Cindy pretty much, made her confess to everything that's been going on.
Yes, and the
Matt.
confessional, which is also done in the cathedral. Go ahead, sorry.
No, that was...
Oh, yeah.
That was like...
After that, they're like, you're a lying bitch. They take her to the cathedral. They make her do her confession. She ends up being like, it's Matt. Like, Matt, Ashley, and Cindy have all been trying to take down Riot.
Yes, and then they bring in Ashley into the cathedral as well. And
they both gone.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's a brutal scene, but they're both donezo. Like, Riot is pissed.
Yep.
After we have confessionals, we're pretty much on like the path of, okay, let's get like Riot and Blakely going together.
Because now Riot's starting to find some shit out.
Yeah, about, these offers, if you will, made to the parents. He's finding out more about like Blakely's mom, Blake's dad.
Yeah.
There's a lot of unprotected sex during this time. She's like, I'm not on birth control.
Like the entire time, I don't think he was using protection at all.
No, but it's very clear after they're married that like she's like, I'm not on birth control, and he's like, I don't care no more. They end up like going out and hiding because Matt has disappeared after.
Oh yeah.
After like Ashley and
Cindy.
Thank you.
Yep.
Were unalived. Matt dips. He is like, Riot's after me next. I should hide my ass.
Yep.
This is like concerning for Riot.
Yeah.
So he takes Blakely to the club Blackout. Which Tyson owns.
We get this is like an introduction to Tyson, because Tyson is in all three.
For all three of the books.
The book.
The Sacrifice is about Tyson, but it's again, Shantel does a great job of weaving the characters throughout all three books.
Yeah, so like Riot will show up in the center and Sacrifice.
You hear. It's not the last time you'll hear of Riot and Blakely, which is cool. I love that. But yeah, so they go in hiding and Blackout. They're getting everybody in Tyson's little dungeon underneath Blackout, trying to get out all the fucking secrets. Blakely's like upstairs hiding. It's just like getting out of control at this point. They're torturing Gunner and like the other one who like approached Blakely and Sarah at the club. Yeah.
It was bad.
It was bad.
And then,
there was a tracker in Blakely. We find that out. Like an actual like tracker put in her body.
Yeah. Well, from Blackout, Blakely gets kidnapped.
Yes.
By Matt.
Because he's a sneaky little shit.
Oh my God. Because Riot wasn't around at that time. It was just her, and then I think she was just gonna leave or do something real quick.
Yeah, because she had like finally like had her like air quotes like freedom back, right? Like I think like what it was Sarah like left her phone in the club.
Yeah.
And so she's like, go back and like get your phone, and somebody opens up the car and she thinks it's Sarah and it's Matt, and he like slams her head into the steering wheel and takes her ass.
Yeah, and they go to where she wakes up wherever. I can't exactly remember where they went to. I think back to the house. I
almost want to say that
it was back to their house, or like mom's house or something. Because we wake up and Matt's there, and she hears another voice. Who's that voice? Her fucking mom.
You psycho.
Oh yeah, her fucking mom. And then Matt's just going off the wall bonkers. Like,
he is psychopath killer type vibes.
That's when it got intense, and that's where, like, I felt so bad for Blakely because he's just using her and all this other shit, trying to force her to eat. But Blakely during this time is starting to feel a little woozy.
I'm not feeling too
feel
hot.
A little nauseous.
I'm not feeling too good,
and then Mom's over here like, fuck. She's pregnant.
Yep. And so Mom's pissed again because she's like, you're going to ruin this arranged marriage, even though you're already married.
Matt goes off the wall.
Because
like, how could you let him do this to you? Blah, blah, blah. And then in comes the whole, I'm going to completely
ruin
you and king shame you. And guess what? You want that fucking forced fantasy?
I can give that to you.
Lets her go and runs around the house to chase her so he could, like, fucking murder her.
Mm-hmm. And while all of this is happening,
poor
Riot, we think is dead.
Yeah.
We're like, when we're reading about Blakely, we are assuming Riot is dead based off what we're previously told.
Yep.
And then we, hear
that
he
ends up in the hospital.
It's brutal. Yeah. And then, like, we hear about Blakely's pregnant, and then it goes back to Riot's view, and it's like, beep,
beep, beep. You're like,
he's like, I'm in the hospital. And like, I wrote in my book, like, Riot lives. He alive.
And I love that he keeps trying to, like, he's so fucking injured, but he keeps trying to get out of this bed. And
Sarah and Gunnar, like, you need to chill. Down. Like, you gotta, like, rest. He's like, no, I gotta go find my woman. I gotta go find my wife. And it is essentially like, clock is ticking of, like, who's gonna get to her first.
Yeah.
She's already in the hands of Matt and her mom to do God knows what.
Yeah.
Riot's coming to doing everything he can to get to her.
Yeah.
And that's when, like, this, like, twist really start coming out.
Yep.
And those I don't necessarily want to, like, spoil for people.
Because it is a twist.
The last, like, 50-ish pages of that book, my jaw was on the ground. I kept having to, like, pull it back up, like, physically, like, push it up and close it. And I don't want to ruin that, but I will say Blakely and Riot end up together.
Yes.
And obviously she's pregnant. And it was such a great story between the smut, between, your really, like, brutal murder scenes. But, like, you've got a cult society going on.
Just getting to see Riot in action on one of the missions as well, like in the jail. Yes. That was fun.
She does a really good job of, like, giving you so much in such a small time frame, right? Yeah. It's like a 600-page book. She gives you a lot, though. And it's not info overload.
No.
And it's not...
You can keep track of it.
Confusing. Yeah. They're very well written. I would say, Shantel is an unbelievable author for the way she can do this. She also notes, like, any, like, songs that are playing in the book, and I love that. So it'll be like, as I was walking through the club, this was playing by so-and-so, but at the beginning of her book, she lists all the songs out.
Yep.
And I dig that. It's nice. You can even, like, pull it up on Spotify. You can find the book playlist, and it's kind of fun to just, like, listen while you're reading.
Yes.
Or when you, like, kind of want to know what that scene felt like, you can go listen to that song. Yes. Right? I think there was one.
I love when authors do that just in general. There's a few that will have, like, this is the playlist at the beginning of the book. And I'm like,
yes,
give it to me. Because I love music so much. And most of the time, like, if I am reading, I will have something playing in the background. Mm-hmm. If you give me a playlist that's going to match with this book,
I will listen to it. Yep. This was the first book I had ever seen that done with. Oh. And I was very much like, that's weird. And so I found the playlist on Spotify, and I was like, interesting. Like, I kind of wish I would have, like, played this song while listening to that scene, right? Yep. To get that full experience.
Yeah.
So it was great. I would suggest to go read The Sinner next, because that's the second book.
And if you think The Ritual is spicy and intense, wait till you read The Sinner.
Yeah.
Oh, I was not
wait till you
expecting
read
that.
the sacrifice.
Like they just keep
Getting
going.
spicy.
That's why I'm so excited about Carnage.
I was like, they all build on each other.
They're so
you've
good.
got Ritual, Sinner, Sacrifice, and then we have Carnage coming. And Shantel said it was going to be a series of books for Carnage.
Yeah, because it's going to be about all three boys.
So,
which
like,
you will find more in, because they don't talk about anything with Carnage in the Ritual.
Yes,
it starts with the Sinner. Is when those boys get introduced. Like
they're very, very bad boys too.
Bad boys, but like it was just touched on. It wasn't until the Sacrifices where you get to know a little bit
more about what's going on there. And then we were like, dude, we need Carnage.
Carnage.
I have goosebumps talking about it. Anyways, it's coming out October 31st. Go pre-order.
Yes.
So you don't have to wait for the book.
Yeah.
Or books. I already did. So you should do that later.
I need to.
Overall, I thought this was like a 4 out of 5 spices when I first read it.
Yeah.
When I read The Sinner and The Sacrifice, I was like, maybe this is like a 3.7 out of 5 spices.
Oh, because, for
this one, because the other books are so much spicier, I almost have to like drop down my spice rating to like 3.7 out of 5.
Yeah. But I mean, like, if that's your first one, it's still up there.
Yes.
It really is. But like, once you read Sinner and Sacrifice, you're like, oh.
Whoa. This is a nice like introduction to what Shantel is gonna give. Yeah. And she did not disappoint.
No, they just keep getting better.
I have a girl crush on Shantel.
Yes.
Like full on.
Yes.
Sign my books.
Love you.
Sign my books. And we're gonna probably do The Sinner and The Sacrifice to release next month, so you guys can listen to those. And then we'll probably do a spooky movie.
Yep.
We want to like alternate, so you guys have like a book and a movie, each month.
Yep.
But we'll probably release like 3 a month. So,
that's what I'm thinking.
Just for us. And
they're going to be kind of like different because like we do our horror movies. And obviously there is some like sex in horror movies, but it's nothing like the smutty books.
No.
But this is like what we love and what we enjoy. So you're going to get some of your horror movies coming out. Yes. And then you're going to get your smutties. And we'll do like, and there's different levels of smut, obviously. And there's different types. So there's the dark romance, the college romance, fantasy. And especially for October, I really I found some smutty books that are more masked men, or there's one with,
I like the masked men.
He is the Pumpkin King, so I found that. So there's gonna be a variety, but it's just shit that we love and that we find really cool.
And if you guys love it and want to listen and share, we love that.
Yes.
Like this is just something for us to do in our free time. Like we're moms that love horror and love smut.
So whenever we get time to ourselves, like this is what we do.
Yes. We're full-time working moms. Like we have a job.
Yeah.
And we're moms.
Yeah.
And we're wives, right?
Yeah.
We need an escape.
Yeah.
Horror movies? Yes. Smutty books?
Yes.
Spend time with my bestie?
Yes.
So we'll be back next month. Always hit us up with your book recs on TikTok or Instagram. We'll read them. Our TBR is hella long, but
so many.
we will rotate them for you guys.
Yep, and now she has a Kindle.
Yeah, I got a Kindle.
So
I read like 8 books this last week.
I was telling her that because I read a lot of my books on the Kindle because it just seems faster for me. And especially like if we need to go anywhere, it's hard to like really bring your book, especially if you have kids and you have to handle that. But it's like you can just have your Kindle
so much easier.
And she's been flying through these books, and I'm like, girl, now that we have Kindle Unlimited, like we're gonna be reading all the books.
All the books. So after we get through the Ritual and or the Sinner and the Sacrifice, we're here for the TBR. I will probably want to do some H.D. Carlton books.
Oh my god, I can't wait till we hit on those. I love her.
I just finished Does It Hurt? And I'm like, it don't hurt enough.
It don't hurt enough.
Apparently not.
It's so good.
So yeah, we'll be back with more and the Midnight Babes. That's us. That's us. Now we're gonna watch a spooky movie and pee our pants. Well, I'm gonna probably pee my pants.
Probably you. I'm gonna be here.
Moral support.
Okay, I guess we're signing off.
We're out.
Bye.
Thank you for listening. If you'd like to see more from us, you can find us on Instagram at The Midnight Babes Podcast and on TikTok at The Midnight Babes. Stay spooky, friends.